G'day you mob, Pete here, and this is another episode of Aussie English, the number one place for anyone and everyone wanting to learn Australian English. So today I have a Goss episode for you where I sit down with my old man, my father, Ian Smisson, and we talk about the week's news, whether locally down under here in Australia or non-locally overseas in other parts of the world. Okay, and we sometimes also talk about whatever comes to mind, right? If we can think of something interesting to share with you guys related to us or Australia, we also talk about that in the Goss. So these episodes are specifically designed to try and give you content about many different topics where we're obviously speaking in English and there are multiple people having a natural and spontaneous conversation in English. So it is particularly good to improve your listening skills. In order to complement that though, I really recommend that you join the podcast membership or the academy membership at aussieenglish.com.au, where you will get access to the full transcripts of these episodes, the PDFs, the downloads, and you can also use the online PDF reader to read and listen at the same time. Okay, so if you really want to improve your listening skills fast, get the transcript, listen and read at the same time, keep practicing, and that is the quickest way to level up your English. Anyway, I've been rabbiting on a bit. I've been talking a bit. Let's just get into this episode, guys. Smack the bird, and let's get into it.
How are you going?
I'm good. How are you, Dad?
Good.
Dad's off to the fridge.
I am off to the fridge. Do you want one as well? Hello,
Yeah,
pussycat.
so we're using microphones, different microphones. These are lapel
Yes,
mics.
we're on
So
mobile mics.
Dad can actually
So
walk
you're going
off.
to hang on. I'll give you the
don't have
fridge
to
opening
shout.
sound. I know,
The
but I'll give
mic's
the
on
fridge
fridge.
opening sound.
Yeah, that's it. So he's getting a beer out of the fridge.
Beer. Wait.
So I think we're talking in this one about Aussies going crazy for crocodile
yeah.
more people sink their teeth into crocodile products.
Hang on.
Oh man, that always reminds me of Rodney Roode, the Australian comedian, really crass guy. He would come out to his shows needing to fart,
Yeah.
and he would be like, hang on,
Hang on.
I got one, and walk up to the mic, and then...
Which do you want?
I'll have the weaker of the two.
The weaker of the two.
Well, that's 6%, so what's this one? 6.2. I guess I'll just have the 6.2. Mix it up. I'll have to
Hey, you
walk-
exaggerated. This
walk
one's
with
only
the kids.
5.9.
Only 5.9. Yeah, so...
5.8.
You recently went to the Northern Territory.
I did.
We did an episode on that on the Goss about it. Go check that out, obviously, guys, if you can. But did you eat any crocodile or emu or other weird shit while you were
I
up
had
there?
crocodile, and it's not weird shit.
No?
Emu's weird shit.
Really? I haven't had either, so I wouldn't know. I've had kangaroo.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
never had
kangaroo's
platypus. Never had koala.
Koala.
I think I'd be in
Unlikely
jail.
to get, yeah. There's an old joke about that I'll work that one up and tell it in another episode.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
yes, I had crocodile. And I've had crocodile before, but we did have crocodile on that last trip.
Nice. Yeah, so there's an article saying crocodile buyers are flying out of the kitchen at Yvonne Tunney's Cafe in Queensland.
Crocodile burgers.
Yeah,
I'm
what am I
flying.
saying? What am
You
I
said
saying?
buyers.
Buyers, burgers. My
another
God.
beer.
Yeah, have another beer. Burgers. I thought
Yvonne
crocodiles,
Tunney's.
people were going up and buying crocodiles to sell as burgers. Yeah, so crocodile meat is apparently flying off the menu in a lot of these places up in the north, and, you know, tourists and locals alike apparently are snapping up crocodile meat in higher numbers than ever before. And so, at least for me personally, I feel like it's really good if you can eat native animals.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are kind of freaked out about it, especially in Australia where they
we
probably
think of kangaroos.
care less about crocodiles and care more about things like kangaroos and, God forbid, we ate platypus. But I feel like it's a good thing because it means you have an interest in wanting to actually conserve your native species. And when you've got a species like kangaroos and like crocodiles where, for better or worse, you're having to cull the numbers when
You're
they
having
get
to
to a
cull
certain
them
level.
anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
you might as well be using the meat. You know, it's better for the environment. You know, you're not having to farm as many sheep or cows or other non-native invasive species that aren't as good on the land and everything
Yes,
like
you're
that.
you're getting the meat for free in an environmental sense, not in an economic sense, but environmentally you're getting it for free because you're going to take it anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well use it for some commercial purpose.
Well, and crocodile numbers are higher than they've been in since like before the 70s, I imagine. Isn't the 70s when the law came in to prevent
to
people
protect
hunting
them,
crocodiles?
yeah.
Because at least saltwater crocodiles have been hunted almost to extinction up in the northern parts of Australia. And I think since then, in the 50 years following, they've really bounced back.
They have.
And numbers are now booming in a lot of these locations. So they're getting a lot of problem crocodiles in, people's close to people, campgrounds, farms, all that sort of stuff. So they're having to get rid of a lot anyway and bring numbers down. But then you also have loads of industry stuff like crocodile farms, right? Where they're using the leather, they're using, they're making all sorts of stuff with it, and then they can also use the meat. So I feel like it's a positive thing overall. The same with kangaroo meat and other products.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, what does it taste like?
It's an old gag, isn't it? It tastes like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken, but it's a light white meat. So
I heard it's kind of like fish, but not as fishy.
Not
and
as
it's
fishy
less full on
and
than chicken.
Yeah,
like less...
it's a cross between fish, a cross between a light white fish and chicken.
It'd be interesting if we get to a point where you can just get crocodile from the fish and chip shop.
Yeah, well, we did when we were up there. You could
that's where you got it, huh?
Yeah, and like I had it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But when we went and got, a friend who lives up there took us to one of the beaches, one of the common beaches that people go to for sunset. And of course, what do you have on a beach which has got a sunset? You have fish and chips. Mm-hmm. And the fish and chip shop is right there. So we went there and they had crocodile nuggets. Mm-hmm. So, like chicken nuggets, but actually made out of crocodile bites.
Do you reckon you would objectively choose those over, say, chicken nuggets or fish nuggets?
Choose them over chicken.
Yeah? Really? Okay. Yeah. So they're that good?
Yeah, they're good.
Interesting.
It's not the sort of flavour that you're going to rave about.
Yeah.
But
what's the absence, isn't it?
In
the article they were
inoffensive.
saying that they use it for dishes where they actually want to get the meat to take the
because I think the burgers,
things.
I read the story again this morning. I think it was a curry burger that they made. Mm-hmm. So they're really saying it's a substrate for the curry flavouring.
Sort of like tofu.
Yeah,
right? You wouldn't be like, I just love eating tofu.
I'll have a tofu burger.
Tofu nuggets.
Yeah. But no, crocodiles, it's inoffensive. It's flavourful. And it does, I think it's one of those meats too that it unlike most fish, it hangs together in different styles of cooking.
Yeah.
So whereas it's hard to make a fish curry without making the curry and then throwing the fish in right at the end because it'll just fall apart. Whereas the crocodile will hang together a bit better.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. It's one of these things I think it would probably be weird the first time or so. Like, because you don't even give eating chicken or something like that a second thought. But anytime you try a new meat or animal, you would be like paying a lot more attention to it, and for one reason or another, I feel like it's going to have a high probability of grossing you out.
Yeah.
Before you become used to it, right? And we were talking about in a previous episode, like Indigenous culture and everything. And it is one of those things where, through history, when you read about some of the interactions between, say, like the colonists and settlers with the Indigenous people here, whenever they lived with them or interacted with them, that initial kind of like, ugh, they eat these things.
Yeah.
And I imagine that it was the same thing. Was it Bennelong sitting down with Governor Arthur, right, at the table and eating Western, food and being like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
It tastes like shit.
Pretty much.
Have a witchetty grub. Jesus,
Yeah. I've eaten witchetty grubs.
Yeah, they're good?
Yeah, they are. I haven't eaten them raw. I've eaten them cooked.
I saw something creepy as the other day, and again, this is just from my, ignorant Western position, and it was, I think it was bamboo worms in Vietnam, and they just put them in a little pot and have them with garlic and chili sauce just rolling around in it. And they absorb the chili. They must be like on fire. Like the poor bugs. But then the trick to eating them is apparently using the chopsticks to get a hold of the head and eating everything except for the head because they've got large pincers. Because I was thinking you wouldn't just swallow this.
That's the witchetty grub thing. You just grab them by the head, take the bite off. But I've only eaten them cooked. So
really?
I can't speak for what they are like raw.
What do witchetty grubs taste like?
Sweet chicken.
Yeah, really? Really? Far out. But like chewy like chicken or...
No, very soft.
Yeah. That's what I would
imagine. But again, I don't know what they're like fresh. So
yeah. It's funny, apparently the Indigenous people around Victoria and I think New South Wales during would have been springtime, I imagine, they would go to some of these sort of mountainous areas and absolutely gorge themselves on the bogong moth.
Yeah.
So you would have these moths. I think they're Australia's largest moth, or one of them.
No, they're not huge, but they're huge in numbers. So you get millions
but
of them.
they're the size of your hand, right? Like they fit your hand. Bogong moths. They're
Across
pretty
your
big.
hand. Yeah. Probably wingspan is probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 centimetres.
Right. So they're a bit of a handful.
Yeah,
they're not a tiny little moth.
You're not
but
going to eat one of them. You'd eat 100 of them.
Yeah, there's loads of fat in their abdomens, right?
Yeah.
And so Indigenous people finding that a difficult food source to get a hold of usually would go there and just scoff them down, apparently. But the numbers have been getting less and less and less, which has become
But they
a
were
problem.
extremely seasonal because that was their, they'd come out and then off they go and they, lay their eggs and fly around. And
maybe
do
too
their
that
thing
they
and
hibernate there, because I think they were a crucial food source for the pygmy possum, right?
Yes.
One of Australia's most sort of charismatic little possums that live up in the alpine region, and they kind of live in these rock screes, right, which get covered in snow, but they can sort of live below that.
They live under the snow in the rocks.
Yeah, and they would eat a lot of these moths. But, sidetracked. What other native animals do you reckon would be worth chucking on the menu? If you could go to any restaurant and be
Well, I've eaten kangaroo and I've eaten emu. Emu's there. You sort of go, what's the point? Because it's one of those weird ones. I've only eaten it in minced. I haven't had an emu steak. And I think it'd be one of those things where it'd be almost impossible to cook as a whole steak. But because it's very lean, as is kangaroo. But so I've only eaten an emu burger, and it was just sort of flavourless. So you go, well, yeah, right. If I have to.
If I was starving to death and I landed
there's
upon
plenty of other things to eat.
A restaurant.
Kangaroo's really nice.
Oh, yeah. I lived off that for years at uni.
I've eaten, not Australian, but I've eaten snake.
Really?
In Hong Kong at a street market.
Jeez, Dad. Adventurous.
Yeah, grasshoppers.
Yep, had them too.
Roast grasshoppers.
I think I'd try scorpions. I've seen
I didn't go to scorpions and spiders.
You
They
had the
had those
option?
as well, but nah.
You pussy.
Snake and
Grasshoppers.
grasshoppers were as far as I
Why
went.
do spiders gross you out more than grasshoppers?
Well, grasshoppers, you look at it and go, all right, there's something to eat. But spiders, what is there to eat? Like
The abdomen, right? The legs? I don't know. It depends on the size.
But anyway, didn't eat them.
I think spiders are freaking out a bit too. I think the hair on them. Kel was telling me that they
They eat
Northern
tarantulas.
Brazil, they eat tarantulas, I assume Indigenous people, probably not the average Brazilian wandering around, but...
Get out of your supermarket and buy a bucket of tarantulas.
But you just chuck them on the fire and then
they're
ready.
The hair off them. And,
I know, it is pretty funny. You wonder how long it takes, right? For those people who did, say, colonise Australia and then end up stranded somewhere, like Buckley, right? Running off and living with the Indigenous people here in Victoria. You're kind of like, how long did it take him to get normalised with the food? Is this the kind of thing where initially you kind of push back? You're like, yeah, I'm not eating that shit. And then starvation comes in.
I think starvation, after a few days.
I'll eat whatever.
After a few days, it'd be...
Yeah, all sensibilities are out the window. I don't care.
Again, and depending on time of the year and so on. But, because he landed in that initial colony
Sorrento, yeah.
And ended up on the other side of the bay.
Right here, effectively, where we're talking now.
Effectively.
It'd be interesting if he wandered through this area.
Well, he would have.
Yeah.
And so he would have walked all the way around the bay over a few years of things. And most of the Indigenous people around there were eating seafood as well as other mammals and birds and things. But the other thing too is that at that time, around certainly at the top of the bay, and I suspect down in Corio Bay, would have been a lot of expansive wetlands with lots of birds.
Well, I think swans.
Hundreds of thousands of swans and ducks.
Yeah, you just raid their nests.
And so you're eating swan eggs, but eating ducks as well, and we still eat duck. So I don't think it would have been, you throw the goanna on the fire and, in this part of Australia. So,
it'd be harder to get your hands on one, I think, than a bird.
Yeah, it'd be a lot harder to find a goanna than a duck.
Around here, for sure. I know, yeah. So, what would you chuck on if you could grab anything?
I'd eat possum.
You reckon?
Yeah, not in Australia because they're protected, but... in New Zealand, I don't know whether I'm surprised. I'm surprised there aren't possum sort of pies and things in New Zealand because I hate them.
Well, they're invasive.
They're invasive. They're
problem.
Australian. They're
Possum
horrible over
pie.
there.
I feel like that could be something that would have been sold by Dame Edna.
Obviously, we've eaten. I've eaten lots of venison, deer, but and they're.
Have you had camel?
Yeah, I've eaten camel.
Yeah. Is that any good? Or is
Yeah,
that there?
yeah, camel's pretty good.
Yeah. You had camel milk?
No, I haven't had camel milk.
Apparently that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very rich, apparently.
I think that a lot of Middle Easterns favour camel milk over, say, cow's milk, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think...
And obviously, goat.
Yeah, but native Australian animals, I guess I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
What do you
not
reckon
too
would be the
many.
worst tasting native Australian animal?
Seal.
I reckon a pelican.
Seals. Well, fish
Pelicans
eaters.
would be awful.
Fish eaters would be pretty good. Fish eating birds and mammals.
Cormorants.
Cormorants. Yeah.
Seagulls. Seagulls would be offensive.
No, seagulls would taske like potato.
Yeah, well, they
Or
would
the
today.
chips.
Yeah, but oh god. Or maybe marsupial moles.
Yeah.
You can get your hands on them. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So,
All right.
no, I think any animal that eats fish is probably going to be a problem.
So you wouldn't eat other humans, huh?
No.
All right. Well, I guess it's a short episode.
that's
Unless you've
very
got anything
short.
else you want to add.
No.
Nothing.
Done.
All right. Sweet.
Go and eat crocodile.
See you guys.
See ya.